Welcome to the Heart of the Matter podcast. I'm Junon.
And I'm Susan Billings. And today we're here with Beth.
Beth, a good friend, a colleague.
One of the first members of the group. You were really one of the first.
I was.
Yeah.
I was at the first one.
Yeah,
For over a year now. I mean, we just passed our year mark. I mean, what do you think it is about the group that keeps bringing people and keeps bringing you back?
Well, it's the connection, definitely, and it's also the authenticity of the people. That was the thing that really struck me, my first one, and you know, when it was first starting, I was like, I can show up here and be myself. I don't have to put on a persona. I don't have to, I do this. It's like I can just be me, be vulnerable, talk about my challenges, and that's what did it for me.
That's actually true. In fact, I remember the first meeting, I think I showed up in a blazer. Last meeting, I showed up in cut-off jean shorts and a tank top. So it really does, you think you're going to this business, I'm going to meet other business professionals, and then you're like, no, I'm going to be me, and I'm going to do business being me.
I think that's true. Because I see a lot of people come in and, they wear a coat or you could tell they're getting prepared for a networking group, and then they see how everyone's just authentic, and they're just like, take off your jacket, and relax, show up in tank tops. Yeah,
it's the nicest group of people I've ever met.
Oh, that's a good compliment.
It is.
The nicest group of people in here.
I know.
You guys are so nice.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, I mean, again, that's really, that's the reason why we formed it. I mean, we really did want to have community come together, because that's one thing that we're seeing in San Diego, North County. People are nice, but everybody's kind of content being by themselves, and community. Support the businesses, support the professionals. So.
I will say it's been fun to watch your evolution in the last year, because the first time meeting you, you were kind of new to the community.
Yeah.
So
I didn't know hardly anybody.
Yeah. Which is crazy to me now, because I feel like everybody knows you.
Yeah.
Everybody goes to you. Everybody knows you. It's really neat to see in a short amount of time how much you've blossomed. But also, you were a little more. Maybe you weren't always, but the way you came to the table the first couple times was more linear. And this is what I do. I'm numbers, and I'm in, productive mode. And it's been so fun to see you step into the creative mode and how many branches now that you're working on. So I think it'll be fun to talk about with you today.
Yeah.
To see all the different ventures
I think there were all these things that I had on the back burner that just weren't relevant to my day-to-day aspect of the business. And the group gave me the confidence and also the accountability I was like, I want to do this thing, that I've been thinking about doing for like 15 years. And I was like, well, do the thing.
So good.
And then June's like, hey, did you do the thing?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I got to show up with the thing.
You did.
And I did.
Well, let's talk.
And so it just felt very supportive, and that I wasn't doing it alone. I could get feedback from people, and so I was able to do it.
Yeah. So, but you came when you first let the viewers know what you do daily as your business. So maybe that, and then we'll talk about the thing and how you merged into something.
I'm a tax accountant, and my company, founded my company 15 years ago, and we do accounting, tax, advisory, compliance, tax planning,
all the fun stuff.
All the stuff, for small businesses. Okay. So our primary client are small business clients, and we like to think of ourselves as a support for the business owners. And that's the thing with the group too. What I find working with entrepreneurs for 20 years is that it's very isolating. It can feel like you're on an island and you have all these things that you have to do, and you're alone doing them. So we want to come in, offer support, and then all the things, the scary things, the stressful things that the business owner doesn't want to do and can't do, we're there to come in and hopefully make it easier, less stressful, be able to explain things in language that they can understand. We want it to be meaningful. We want it to be relevant.
Mm-hmm. It's very, I mean, you're very unique in that typical accountants, tax specialists, pretty square. They're kind of official, give me your taxes and they'll take care of it. The way you handle it, again, I've only known you from the first time we had coffee to, when I saw you at the group and, we've become friends. You just don't come across as the typical accountant. And I think that's refreshing to help business owners really kind of be okay with being vulnerable and letting you know, this is what I want to do, this is my goal, and then you figure it out.
So my background, I've had several businesses before starting this business. So when I'm looking at accounting, I'm looking at it through the lens of the business owner. Accounting and tax are very technical. They have very technical aspects to them. And there's a lot more that goes into it, but a lot of the technician is going to look and say, this needs to balance, these numbers need to go here. But when you're looking at it from what does the business owner need from this information? Because I was the business owner many times, and I knew what I needed and how the information needed to benefit what I was doing for the business. So I think a lot of times the technical aspect, you're not looking through the lens of the business owner. We're really here to support the owner, right. To make sure that they're making good decisions and that they have the data that they need in order to be able to make those decisions. So we have a different way of looking at it, and that's how I've trained my staff, is what does the business need? What does the business owner need?
So I remember the first time being at your office and seeing two different people that were in there, and they were very, different businesses. And I thought it was so neat. I think you had kind of more of a surfer guy type person, and then there was more of a business type person. I was like, oh, so you're across the board of any entrepreneur. So I remember you saying one time that you are helping business owners prevent things moving forward. So if you can get them structured from the start the right way with accounting, we're not going to have to go back and repair all these mistakes that could have been avoided if you just laid out the outline from the beginning. I thought that was really powerful because I thought, wow, if business owners could do that, and you're so non-intimidating. It's like I could come to you as is in a mess form with my papers and say, I don't like this, I don't know what to do, and feel very comfortable going to you with it. No matter how big or small.
It's very stressful for people. I know that it's very stressful. I don't want to add to that stress. Like I said, we're here as a support. Mm-hmm. So we want to support you. We don't want to pile on, more stress. So it's important, and that's something that we really want to make sure that we're explaining it in a way that you can understand. We're not using a bunch of lingo. We're trying to use words. We put together a whole list of accounting terms and tax terms, and then put them in layman's explanations, and then had people who aren't accountants and aren't tax people read through, and it's can you understand this? And we had to go back and tweak it a bunch of times, and then and so as part of our onboarding process with every new client, we send them that. We're these are some of the words we're going to be using. This is what it means, and just trying to really make the client experience feel supported.
Sure, that's great.
I love that. And again, it's very unique. The other accountants and CPAs I've ever spoken to, it's never really like that. It's just kind of here it is, this is it, and no, I love that.
And that's unfortunately what's happening in the industry. That's a byproduct of the accounting shortage. So accountants and tax preparers are retiring. It's not the industry that college kids, they're not ooh, I want to be an accountant.
Wow.
I want to be a CPA. People don't want to do it anymore. I think they don't understand maybe really what it involves. There's maybe a perception that it's not, fun or cool. I mean, I'm sure there's a perception of that. So we have a pretty severe shortage, and the result of that shortage means we're all overloaded. We have way too much work to get done in too short of a period of time. Really? So you have the business has to be very conscious about the client experience. we have to be extremely organized. We have to have as much of what we're doing automated as possible. We have to be able to let the clients know what our expectation is of them, you know, in order to make it all be able to function. And so it's getting worse based on what's happening in the industry.
Did you know that?
No, I had no idea. So what
It's
got
serious. Like,
encourage
it's
my kids
actually
to
to the
do that?
point where, like, public companies have to be audited every quarter.
Right.
And the what's the word? The quality of those audits is decreasing based on an increased workload on a decreasing population.
Wow.
So it's like actually creating problems
Right.
in the work product
Sure.
of the audits.
Well, if it's not
Wow.
accurate, I mean, it's,
Wow.
that's going to be a big issue going
Yeah,
forward.
and so, you know, it's hard, and I understand that people who, you know, haven't set up their business like that are not going to have those systems in place to be able to communicate, and
Right.
and that's the number one complaint I get from new clients is, I couldn't get a hold of my person, I didn't know what was going on, they just sent me the thing to sign right before the deadline, we never talked about anything, and
So you started 10 years ago, this business, Blueprint?
2007.
It's called Blueprint.
Blue Financial
Blue
Solutions.
Financial
Blue Financial.
Solutions.
Yeah.
Okay, so Blue Financial Solutions, you have how many people working for you now?
I think right now we have 8.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
You've built your own business like
And
that.
in your way, with your method.
With your
which is
method.
amazing.
yes, yeah, we definitely wanted to grow organically, and we wanted to, it's been so many lessons along the way. I
Sure.
feel like I've made every mistake that you could possibly make.
Yeah.
In terms of staffing and culture and all of that, leadership. I mean, it's a constant learning.
Wow.
And, you know, there's certain things that are really important in terms of our employee experience as well.
Yeah.
You know, we're not trying to like push our employees to work 60 hours a week like a lot of firms are. We're really trying to be efficient and have the efficiencies give us the productivity rather than just dump a whole bunch of work on people and be like, you know, you're going to be buried in this for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So it's had to be a lot of like, we're constantly refining our systems, getting input from our staff, and you know, it's a never-ending, it's never-ending.
Well, that's great. I mean, especially with your experience in the trials that you've gone through, I mean, you're an expert at helping businesses in all aspects, not just, you know, taxes. So, I mean, that's really refreshing, and that's great that you do this.
It's amazing to me too, as a single mom, watching another single mom be able to do what you're doing and manage what you're doing and still be in the role of mom. I think you've been able to merge both into your everyday lifestyle, your office setup, everything is you've been cognitive of how to do both roles, and I think it's just impressive. And then on top of that, you're thinking ahead of, okay, now how do I help community, and how am I helping people get more into their alignment and soul alignment within this brain alignment? How do we now merge brain and heart together? So do you want to talk about what that thing is that you when you came to the group and we were all starting to get a little vulnerable, you just, the light bulb popped on and I could see it and you did it, and then the next week it was like you came to the table with that idea. So do you want to talk about that?
So the idea is that there's an entrepreneur's journey. So every entrepreneur, regardless of education, experience, capitalization, goes through a journey. And it's not an easy journey. It's very challenging. And I've seen it over and over and over again throughout pretty much every single client has very similar challenges of starting a business. And when I started thinking about it, it just kind of struck me that the entrepreneur's journey is a journey of self-actualization. So we're actually self-actualizing, we're growing, we're evolving through our business, just like we would as a parent, just like we would in a spiritual context. This has that same level of, like, we're growing as people, we're evolving.
Yeah.
And that became very interesting to me, especially as I was having these similar conversations over and over and over. And really, you know, I'm calling you as my client, and we're going to look at the business, and we're going to look at financials, and we're going to do some strategy. But as part of that conversation, I'm also going to check in with you. How are you? And I'm going to hear your struggles, what's going on. It could be work-life balance. It could be, you know, staff, like all the different things that you struggle with as an entrepreneur. And in that time that we have allotted to talk about your business, we don't have a lot of time to really dive into you and what you're dealing with. And so I've always, my whole life, done divination readings using cards. And I love how I can sit down with somebody I've never met before, and in a 30-minute reading, I can go really deep with you. And, you know, we can really get into like what's going on with you, what are your struggles, all of that. And I've never even met you or talked to you before.
I've never thought about that. They're almost the catalyst to the conversation.
Yeah.
And it just goes so direct.
It's like laser.
So fast. That's a great tool.
And so I was really feeling like I needed something like that for my clients. But there's any, like, divination cards aren't going to have anything to do with your business. And I really wanted to, you know, mindset is so important when it comes to business. Perspective is so important. And I really wanted to be understanding kind of the roots of some of these issues from that the business was having connected to the business owners and what they were going through. So as I was looking at, like, I can't just take a deck and do a reading because it's going to have nothing to do with your company. And so I went online. I did find a couple of them that related to business, but they were very dry. And it was not something that I felt like I could really connect with someone. And so I wrote the cards, and I have one of my clients has a PhD in business psychology, and she's amazing, and she helped me grow as a leader throughout my company. And so I wrote everything up, you know, what I thought. I sent it to her. She edited it and turned it more into like coaching prompts, like business coaching, and created the cards. And it's a 4-card spread, which is self-actualization spread that I would do like with any cards. And so it's very simple, it's very fast, it's a quick reading, and it's where you are with the present moment, it's where you're going, it's where you are present moment, where are you, okay, edit.
Okay.
I'm like, how do I not know this? Where you are, okay, all right, start over. It's where you are, the present moment, and the things that you're experiencing right now. It's your inner journey. So it's your journey as a person, you, like your journey. It's your outer journey, meaning like your journey on earth, right? Like what you're here to do. And then it's your future, where you're going. So it's 4 very simple, very direct, and we can get through it in a short amount of time. And so the goal is when business owners are in that stressful time, they become very analytic, but they started the business from a creative side. So their why is the creative. And now, you know, you talk about brain and heart. Now they're all brain, no heart. Right. The brain hemispheres aren't balanced. And so by the cards, like, I'm not sitting here like, here's your financial statements, here's your tax return, where you're fully analytic brain and, you know, you're not balanced. And so with the cards, we can say, all right, let's go into creative mode. Let's remember why you're doing this. Let's remember who you are as a person and what you're bringing to the table. And let's try to switch back over into that creative mode, which is the reason why you started the business in the first place.
Have you seen people change where they come in a certain way and maybe more fear-based when they come to you?
Mm-hmm.
And then do you see them when you do the cards? Just
Absolutely.
have these aha moments through each one?
Absolutely.
Where they get back to their...
It's been really cool.
I bet.
I mean, it's fun
I'm
for
like,
me.
let's move
No, and that's
out.
why, did you bring him?
Let's
I didn't
lay
bring
them
them, no, I
out.
should have
Yeah,
brought
dang,
them.
that would
Because
be
I
great.
did it last, well, probably like
You were
9
one of the
months ago. I was
first
one of the
people.
first
You and
ones.
Yvonne were the first people I read for.
Everything, it
Oh,
was maybe
yeah.
it resonated right there. And like you said, it was, and not that I'm all brain, but it does. It kind of relaxes you. It's like get in and you're like, oh, and it resonates. Some may resonate, some may not, but it gets you in this mode of like, all right, be creative. Like, let's.
And you're really good when you were working with me on it too. You were really good about just allowing me to process. You facilitated, but you didn't interject so much that it steered in a different way. It was like, I remember you being like, what does that mean to you? You know?
Well, it's your
Where-
reading.
yeah. And that's neat because you're digging into yourself a bit more and you're like, how in the world? Like there couldn't be more of a spot on word that is exactly what I feel like I'm struggling with. And then to take the journey
Right.
with each.
Because it's
Here I
supposed to
am.
tell a story.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
it goes and you're like, okay, now I see where I'm going. That's exactly where I'm going.
Well, because
So-
you have the answers, right? So I'm just trying to help you find your own answers.
That's
Like
beautiful.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
And I have fun doing it, and it helps me be creative too,
Yeah.
because I'm also in a very analytical job, and I'm analyzing all day long.
Sure.
And so I can also get in that
Oh,
unbalanced.
It kind of feeds you. That's
And so,
great.
yeah, so that helps
Love
me
that.
also balance myself out, because that's very creative for me, and it's about the connection,
Right.
and I really enjoy it.
Well, you can
So-
tell because even the grand opening of the spa, you sat there.
Oh my
I
gosh.
didn't
And
even
did
move. I think I
really-
took
Did
one.
not move
I think I
the
took a
whole
bathroom
Yeah.
break.
time.
Yeah.
It was amazing. You
Yeah.
had one person after another sitting down with you. And it's so funny to me again because you couldn't pick something more opposite than the way that you first present yourself.
Yeah.
You know? So, okay, so we have, so you have that side of you, you have this business you merged into. When these people come to you, do you have that as part of it where they do the cards, or is it only when you see them getting stuck that you're like, you know what, do you want to do this?
So I haven't done the cards yet. They're still in draft. I did a bunch of readings. I got a lot of really good feedback, and now I'm doing my final edits. So I haven't implemented it with my clients yet, but I
How many-
plan to.
How many virtues or would you call them that, in the deck? How many
cards?
Yeah.
I think I have 50 right now, and I want to have 60.
Okay.
That's amazing.
That is. What about the artwork? Because I know you wanted to change it.
Yeah, I want to change the artwork. I don't know.
And
I don't know what to do for the artwork yet. It's still
You can find an artist.
it's on my list.
Pick them, or do they pick them? Like, are you laying them out for them?
No,
Or
they
are,
pick
their
them. Yeah.
energy? Okay.
Yeah, they pick them. Yep. And then I use them because what I'll do is every morning I'll pull one card and then I'll kind of set it in front of my computer, and then as things happen throughout the day, it's kind of grounding for me.
To stay
To-
focused on that.
Exactly,
Yeah.
to be like, oh, this or that or whatever it is. And I feel like it's just very helpful as an entrepreneur. And, in addition to doing the readings for people, I would love to teach people how to read for themselves or just have it as another tool.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of times, we're making decisions and we don't have enough information and we got to make all these decisions on the fly and we second guess ourselves. Is it the right thing? We don't know, or we just are doing things we don't know how to do.
Yeah.
And I feel like just one more thing to help us stay grounded and stay focused.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
absolutely.
love that. I wish I had that. Because you do, you take your morning to get aligned, maybe spiritually aligned, and I'll maybe pull a card that's joy. And I'm like, okay, today that's what I'm focusing on is
Right.
joy. We're going to work on joy. But I can't imagine going, to that space where you're like, how am I going to function in my business? What do I need to focus on in my business? And be able to have something like that to use as your little guiding light through the day.
Mhm.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
it can
really
be
great.
very chaotic
Mhm.
as a business owner.
Yeah.
It's like things are constantly popping up, and
Yeah.
and then somebody gives their resignation, and now you've got staffing, and but you're trying to do the thing, and
Yeah.
So
Yeah, just kind of ground you, anchors
Mhm.
you. Okay, so what's your next project?
Yeah, it seems like you do
you're
a lot.
always
So-
working on something.
So the cards, part of what the cards is going to be is something I'm developing, and it's called Blueprint. So the company Bleux Financial, Blue is spelled B-L-E-U-X because we're fancy. And so I'm using Blueprint, right? B-L-E-U-X print.
That's great.
And it's part of this whole thing of like teaching people or helping people find that blueprint for their business. And so in addition to like the cards would be part of Blueprint, I'm developing whole education modules to assist business owners. So there's a lot of conversations that I'm having one-on-one where I'm just giving the similar information over and over. And professional services are expensive. It's expensive to hire someone one-on-one to like
mentor you.
walk you through a formation, right?
Right,
Like you
yeah.
brought up how important formation is. And it's really important. And one of the things that we talk to people about is when you're organizing your entities, when you're forming a company, you have to think about that company all the way through to the exit, because how you exit is going to affect how you form. And so there's very specific information that I want to put into modules to be able to give people to help them be able to navigate like formation, for example,
Right.
like what kind of entity, what does it mean, what is an LLC, what is an S Corp, what is a registered agent, all these things that are the same. There's always customization, but at least they can get the basics and then only have to have those consulting.
Well, I love that idea because typically when you start a business, you're just kind of like, all right, I'm just going to start it, I'll figure it out. But if you set kind of, well, what's your goal in 3 years? What's your exit? What's your exit strategy going to be? And then that'll kind of set you blueprint of
That's the
what
blueprint.
you should be doing, which is
That's
great.
cool.
Right.
And it's,
It's really
So that's that additional support that I want to be able to provide at a lower cost, so that people can understand. I've had tons of situations where clients set things up one way, and then when they went to exit, they had huge capital gains that they could have avoided altogether. And I mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars in tax. And it's heartbreaking to say, well, if you had just done it this way,
Wow,
you
sure.
wouldn't have to pay all this money. And so just seeing that over and over again of all these, just all these things, in business, I'd like to be able to provide that blueprint to show people, like, here's how you set yourself up for success.
love that. That's great.
what's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
That's a great question. So I have the Blueprint website, but I haven't built it out yet.
Okay,
So we're
so it's in
still in,
process.
yeah,
Okay.
we're still doing it.
But if they wanted just a normal, I need help getting
Tax
structured,
yeah.
tax
Oh, for
questions, yeah.
for
Yeah.
accounting and
Blue
tax.
Financial.
Yeah, I mean, my email, Beth@Blue,
Hmm.
Beth@bleux.net,
Oh,
or our website.
amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
So, and you're helping people even in the nonprofit world, right?
Mhm.
So not just
Yep.
small businesses, but nonprofits. Are you
Which
doing-
is sometimes even more difficult because you've got a different set of rules you got to follow to be a nonprofit.
Yeah, lots of rules. Yeah, lots and lots of rules, lots of hoops to jump through, lots of ways, things that need to be done a very specific way. And it's also an opportunity to be able to give back,
Yeah.
which is also really important. It's very satisfying to be able to help people who have not-for-profits. One of them from our group, Marty Graham, who comes to the group, he started a not-for-profit for youth football players, for youth athletes, and it's empowering athletic performance excellence. And he just started it. I'm going to be the CFO of that company.
Wow.
So I'm really excited to be able to help get that off the
That's
ground.
amazing, Beth.
I love these
And
connections from the group.
I know.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
actually really, that one was really cool because he came to the group and he said that he trains youth football players, and my son loves football, loves football. And so I reached out to him about getting training for my son, got that whole set up. My son loves him, loves doing it. And then he reached out to me to ask about helping him with the not-for-profit. And I was like, absolutely, totally love to be involved in something like that. So that was really
So
cool.
good.
Yeah.
That's music to our ears. I
Yeah.
love
Absolutely.
that. Good for you. That's really great. And then you also are involved in helping the Mentors Collective. I know
Mhm.
that. Do you want to explain that and
Yep.
anything that you're doing for women in business?
So women, I think, have kind of unique struggles and challenges when it comes to being an entrepreneur, especially women who are also moms. You know, you mentioned like it's a huge juggling act to be a mom and to own a business. And in talking to my women entrepreneurs over the years, again, just very similar struggles, challenges, and so I feel like there's extra support that women need in addition to, you know, when we say like entrepreneurs need to be supported, and women entrepreneurs need to be supported in a more powerful way.
Yeah.
And so the Mentors Collective, started by 2 women in the group who came to the group, same thing, had an idea, started this business, which so many businesses have been started from it, which is just like so cool. I love it. And so they're providing mentoring services. So they're doing both. If you want to be a mentor, you can be part of it. If you want to be a mentee,
Yeah.
or you could be both.
Right?
Yeah, you can be both, which is amazing because there's so much to learn from both sides of that. And so, you know, they're still in their beginning stages. They're putting their certification together right now. But yeah, so really fun to see them grow.
It's been amazing to watch.
So fun and to be involved in that. And then Susan, we're working on
Something so fun.
something,
Right.
a thing. We got another thing in the
Thing.
works to provide this additional support for women. And so we're still in the very, you know, infant stages, but we want to be able to provide ongoing support. So we're putting that together right now, and our goal is to be able to launch that in January.
That's great. Yeah, because I feel like traditionally it's been, because it has been difficult for women in kind of the workplace, but to be able to balance kind of that work life, you know, if you're a single mother, and to just deal with it, just deal with everything, toughen up and just go, but it doesn't work. I mean, again, there's a high burnout rate, you know, so this is great that you.
It's a feminine approach to a business world that's mostly been dominated by a masculine approach in a way, and it's not men versus women on it. It's just how do you handle situations still by being in a feminine mindset? Can you do that with business? And I think it's so interesting because it creates more of a holistic approach to business. You know, we're bringing in all aspects,
Yep.
all the cyclical patterns, everything that a woman may function as. We're bringing that to the table, and I think it needs so much support and hand-holding, especially as you're transitioning out of situations. I mean, some could have just gotten married, but now and some maybe left corporate but are going into, you know, their own business, or some are going back into the corporate world
Right.
after being a mom for so long. And there's so many different stages and situations, and it's exciting to see, yeah, we're here to handhold because we know what that's like. So
Yes,
That's
and
exciting.
a lot of times when you're looking at like a wellness retreat, say, or wellness business, it's not addressing the financial wellness. And that's a huge part of our lives, and a huge part of what we deal with is the finance. And then when you look at finance, when you're looking at financial wellness, you're not getting that work-life balance or, you know, the spirituality or the health and all of that. And so we looked and we said, well, there's kind of a gap here, and we'd like to bring them both together and have that holistic approach to say we can support wellness, you know, 360 degrees. So that's the goal of that.
Yeah.
So it's exciting.
I'm excited to watch how this grows. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, and there's no better. It's amazing. I just want to blow you up a little bit.
Oh,
Let's
that's
get your
amazing,
head because you really. I love that you're even sitting at the head of this table because I look at you as that. You're a woman of wisdom. You bring it to the group every time. People respect you when you speak. We listen. Sometimes when I speak, you know, everybody's like, "Yeah, she's speaking again."
That's not true.
I'm just kidding. But you have just a very secure, confident demeanor that allows people to trust you. So for me, the minute it was like, let's go into this, I'm like, oh, I'll dive right in because I have so much to learn from you. I have learned so much from you. You offer so much to everybody, no matter what stage they're in. You give them just this really great confidence that they're okay right where they're at.
Absolutely.
And that you're there to guide them.
Well, even with the confidence of just like everything's going to be okay. It's kind of you come across that way where when you speak to someone and like you said, they may have tax issues, they may have, you know, I don't know what to do with my business, and you kind of come in with this persona and this confidence, like, you know what, it's going to be okay. I understand this is scary, but we're going to figure this out.
Almost as if you just, again, wisdom is almost like, you've seen it all, nothing's too scary, you're all good. I mean, I came to the group with my tax papers in a frantic, and I'm like, you gotta look at these, I don't know what to do. And it was, you just wrote out, like, okay, now you need to write this out, and you staple, and you put them all together, and you were like, now go mail it. And I'm like, really? Thanks. You're the best. Where that was stressing me out so much, and that was a little issue.
Yeah.
And you just made it like it's not bad. It's all okay.
It's a really complicated thing. Tax and accounting even are really, really complicated. And my frustration is that tax is so complicated because it's your tax return. You should understand it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous.
We don't.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a huge, huge frustration for me, is that the tax code is so complicated that even I've been doing it for decades. And there's like, we each focus on this little tiny piece of it and try to learn that part as best as we possibly can, because it's massive and it's
I don't even try.
It's crazy.
No.
Yeah.
And so that's part of, like, if I'm preparing your return, it's your return, you're signing it. I want you to understand what it is. I don't want to just be like, oh, sign this, yep,
Sign it,
okay.
that's it.
Yeah.
Write a check or.
Yeah.
I love that. It's interesting that we're going towards that route in all systems, because before, if you take even just the school system, it's like you sit in this class, I'm lecturing, and you got to believe everything I'm lecturing on, right? Like, that was the system. Now go to recess. Like,
Memorize
go
it.
to recess.
Yeah.
And now we're switching this whole education system. I mean, I homeschooled for that reason, where I was like, no, I want to dialogue with you. If you don't understand it or agree with it, I want you to ask questions and let's get in this discussion, because you should understand what
Absolutely.
it is.
I think everyone learns
agreeing
better
to.
when they're having a dialogue versus just being told, this is what you should know.
Yeah, and in the medical world, we've seen the same thing where it's like, take this. Oh, you came in, you're sick. Take this. Now go. And people are like, but why am I sick? Like, why does this keep coming up? And now we're going into this holistic approach of wellness, where it's, let's get to the root. Oh, wait, there's emotions involved in there. Oh, wait, there's some maybe preventative measures we can do to not get you to that point. And now we're taking it to the business.
Yeah.
And that's fun for me, where, this is a system of tax, but let's understand it and figure out so that it's not.
And let's use it to our advantage.
Right.
You know, and that's really the biggest thing, is people don't do tax planning because it's complicated, because it's confusing, and overpay. Like, one of my businesses, I way overpaid my taxes, like way overpaid. And I was like, this can't be right.
Right.
And once I started learning and looking and here and, and then ended up being able to get my tax bill way down just by changing entity type, doing planning, doing all these other things.
It's that experience. Well, so then what made you transition from being a small business owner to doing taxes? I mean, what was
So, being a business owner, being a founder is very difficult, and it's long hours. You're building a business from scratch, and it's a lot. And so I did 2 businesses, started from scratch. One bought and sold an existing business, but really built it up during that time. And I was like, I don't want to be in that seat. I want to be the support, knowing the support that person needs. I want to be in the support position and being able to support that person. But what I didn't think about was working with startups. I just put myself right back into startup mode.
Oh, right.
Because I'm like, well, I didn't think that one through. Because I love working with startups for that very reason. You can plan right from the beginning. You can do things correctly. You can really, look at your growth. And so, but yeah, that one kind of, I'm like, well, now I'm in constant startup mode again.
Yeah, that's probably got to be frustrating too, because there's a little bit of achiever in you, right? Where you want to see the end, like the result of what you.
Well, I want the
But I
business
guess
to grow.
Yeah, exactly. You're working with all these startups. It's great to see them blossom and continue to grow, and you have a huge part of that. So.
Well, and I love, that's the creativity. Someone has an idea in their head, right? Oh, I have this idea about this business I want to do. And then here's the business, So it's so creative, that part of founding a company and starting a business. So I love, being part of that, and people come up with amazing ideas and do these amazing things. And so it's fun.
Good. You're amazing.
But yeah, I didn't want to be the person in that founding position. I mean, I founded this company, but
Sure.
And the other thing was, like, I really saw through those companies how important the accounting was, how important the tax was for the growth and success and profitability of the business. And so I was like, ooh, it's like, I love cars, I'm a car person. And so it's like you get under the engine and you start tinkering and, we can put some more air here and this is how we can make the engine go faster. And that's what it feels like to me with a business. With the accounting and with the tax planning. I mean, taxes are that's the biggest expense of a business over the life of a business, right? So how do we mitigate that, and how do we do planning and make sure that we're maximizing everything that we can to make the car go faster, right? And then to get into 5th gear. We don't want to stay in 1st and 2nd gear, because that's the most amount of energy that you need to power the business. Like, we want to keep shifting into 5th gear. And that's the biggest thing I tell my founders when they get so frustrated. It's like, well, you're still in 1st gear, or you're in 3rd gear. Let's try to shift you into 4th, but we're not going to go to 1st to 5th. Like, we have to go through everyone.
I love watching you explain certain things, because look at you now. You have so much passion.
I know.
I get energetic. What? Really?
What gear are we in?
Yeah.
1st, no.
Yeah.
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. I do feel I'm
we're
so
not.
thankful.
The e-brake's on.
We're probably inside.
The e-brake. The e-brake's on. We're still revving. We're sitting at the stop.
Is that smell with the burning tires? That's the smoke.
It's so true. Oh my gosh. That's so good. Yeah, well, I love having you by our side. I really do. I love you in the group. I love the thought of working with you. I love every bit
I love
that
referring
you
people. Everyone I've ever introduced
that's an
you to.
easy.
Yeah, it's easy.
Referring you?
Yeah.
That's an easy one.
Yeah, this is something really unique and special that we have. Like, I've never seen anything like this in all my years. So it's very special, and it's really cool and fun to be a part of it and to see the evolution of this. And then we have the Advisors Collective, which we're also all part of, which is another business that we started to be able to provide advisory and support services to businesses, and it's like,
Yeah.
we got all these trajectories coming
And we
off
started
of.
off just getting to know each other.
Right.
That's what I
Yeah.
love about it. We
Yeah.
just
Yeah, I mean, there was
really
no
connected.
agenda.
No, yeah.
It was literally just like, how can we connect? Who are you?
Right.
That's
What do you
it
need?
was.
That was-
It was
that's
who are
huge.
you? It
Yeah.
was- that's the best way to say it. I think, and I hope we're still carrying that on because that is how it began. Those conversations, the first couple meetings were just
Yeah.
conversing.
Yeah.
So
I remember one of the first, I don't remember if it was the first, we all went around because they were like, what do you need?
Oh, right.
And we all went around, I was like, whoa.
yeah,
Like,
I know.
no one's ever asked me this
Right.
before.
Good.
Yeah.
So good.
And that was really cool.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining.
Thank you so
us.
much.
This is fun. It's
This
it's
is
really
great.
fun.
Yeah, learn
Love it.
something new about you too with cars, so that's great. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I appreciate you being a part of a critical, like one of the founders of the group. I mean, you add so much to it. I mean, people can, ask you questions, and you can give advice because you've had personal experience in really everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep. Seen a lot. Got a lot of
Yeah.
I've seen
got a lot of stories.
and good success that's come from it, and that's exciting to see too. You did it. You're
Mhm.
successful with it.
Yeah, we're still going.
Still going.
Hmm.
That's
It's
amazing.
good.
Well, thank
So-
you so much for having me.
Yeah, you've been our sponsor a couple times too for
Yeah.
our podcast.
Nice.
Who's our sponsor today?
Today is Coast News.
Coast News.
Excellent.
And thank you, Insperity.
Yep.
Always.
Insperity,
for
we
letting
love
We're an
to
Insperity client.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And then if you're interested in sponsoring the podcast, and we're doing mini podcasts as well, little mini interviews, feel free to reach out.
Yeah.
We're at thegroupcoastal.com.
You can come on Friday mornings for our group meetings at the market space every Friday morning at 9 a.m.